Hello everyone, welcome to Two Peas in a Podcast. My name is Freya.
My name is Jamie.
And today we are going to be talking about a documentary that has sparked many conversations, debates, and even a few lifestyle changes for many viewers. It's called Cowspiracy, the Sustainability Secret.
Whether you're a seasoned environmentalist, a curious foodie, or just someone who loves a good documentary, Cowspiracy is a film that challenges the way we think about our planet, our food, and the system of governs both.
Absolutely. It's one of those documentaries that stay with you for a long time after the credits roll. So grab your headphones, settle in, get cozy, and let's break it down.
Let's go. First, let's set the stage. Cowspiracy is a 2014 documentary directed by Kip Anderson and Keegan Kun. It explores the environmental impact of animal agriculture and particularly the livestock industry, and why this issue is often overlooked by major environmental organizations.
Right. The film follows Kip Anderson, who is the co-director, as he investigates the devastating effects of animal agriculture on deforestation, water consumption, greenhouse gas emissions, and species extinctions. In the start of the movie, it was basically about him introducing his life as a very avid environmental activist. He goes to places with his bikes instead of cars.
Yeah.
He showers like really quickly and all that. But then he realizes that him doing all that doesn't have that big of an effect, and the world is still like, the environment is still like bad. So he does more research and he finds out that most of the environmental problems that we have in this world is actually caused by something more simple, which is what we consume, animal agriculture. Along the way, he uncovers that what he describes as a conspiracy, a reluctance among the environmental organizations to address the role of animal agriculture in climate change. So they talk about how we shouldn't waste water, we shouldn't waste electricity, but they stay silent about they stay silent about the damage of animal agriculture on our environment.
Exactly. This is really eye-catching for me, but to say the least. But turns out all this was because of cows. The difference of like gallons and gas, and the main character, Kip Anderson, he felt like what he was doing was useless because it doesn't matter of what he did. The impact was on something we consume. And the greenhouse gas was so much and that like it didn't even compare to the transportation sector combined.
Yeah. Or how it uses nearly a third of the planet's fresh water. But it's not just about the numbers and the statistics, it's about the question it raises. Why aren't we talking about it more? Why are big figures such as the government, the environmental groups, they're not speaking about this, and what can we do about it?
Now let's dive into some key points about the movie, Cowspiracy. First up is the environmental impact of animal agriculture. The film argues that animal agriculture is the leading cause of environmental destruction.
Yeah, it highlights how livestock production contributes to deforestation, water pollution, and habitat loss. For example, it takes about 2,500 gallons of water to produce just 1 pound or half a kilogram of beef.
But when I compare this with animal agriculture, raising livestock just in the US consumes 34 trillion gallons of water. And it turns out the methane emissions from both industries are nearly equal.
That's a lot of resources for a single meal, like one meal for one person, like a steak for one person. That's crazy.
Another major takeaway is the silence of environmental organizations.
Yeah.
Like, they don't care about it. They didn't even discuss. They never talk about it.
Yeah.
One of the most shocking aspects of the documentary is its critique major. environmental groups like Greenpeace and the Sierra Club.
Right, like Jamie said, Anderson interviews representatives from these organizations asking why they don't focus more on animal agriculture as it is like the leading cause of environmental change. The responses, or lack thereof, are pretty telling. The film suggests that these groups may be avoiding the issue due to funding concerns or fear of backlash, which is very reasonable
Yeah.
in our opinion, because it's a very sensitive topic for
Yeah.
people, because the film basically wants us to change our lifestyle. They
Yeah.
want us to
Become vegan.
yeah,
bro.
yeah, they want us to become vegan, like eat less or even no meat. And that's why it sparks a lot of controversies, because people don't, well, they don't like being told what to do,
Yeah.
and they don't like giving up what they are used to. People are used to eating meat, and things like this, like speaking up against it, it causes them to feel guilt for eating meat. It makes sense that that these big organizations and even the government doesn't want to talk about it, because people will like hate when
Yeah.
someone speaks up about it.
And like they also like lose profit, and like
Yeah.
they can't just like change something just because one person told them to.
Mm-hmm.
Even though it makes the environment better, I don't think it's like something they would risk for.
Yes.
And finally, the film emphasizes the power of individual action. Despite the grim realities, Cowspiracy ends on a hopeful note. It argues that by reducing or like eliminating our consumption of animal products, we can significantly reduce our environmental footprint.
Exactly. The film advocates for a plant-based diet, or more like vegetarian, vegan, as one of the most effective ways to combat climate change. And whether you go fully vegan or just cut back on meat, every little bit helps. And I mean, again, like, it's something very simple, because it's just changing what we consume. Doesn't mean that we have to starve or anything, but again, it's also a bit complex for
Yeah.
people to change that, because even if it is good for the environment, and it reduces like the speed of climate change, it is almost impossible to make everyone cut back on meat or even just go vegetarian like that. It's pretty hard for them. So yeah.
Of course, no documentary is without its critics, and Cowspiracy is no exception. Some have questioned the accuracy of its statistics, arguing that the film oversimplifies complex issues.
Right. For example, the claim of that animal agriculture is responsible for 51% of global greenhouse gas emissions has been disputed by some scientists. And while the film raises important points, it's worth digging deeper into the data, because if not, then it's spreading false information, and that's not good. That's
Others have criticized the film for its confrontational approach by accusing environmental organizations of being complicit in the problem. Cowspiracy has alienated some viewers and groups who might otherwise be allies in the fight against climate change.
Yeah, so that's a fair point, but even critics agree that the documentary has succeeded in starting an important conversation, because like the movie said before that movie, no one else talked about it. Like, no one knew that animal agriculture is actually it plays a big role in environmental like crisis.
No one took it seriously.
Exactly. Whether or not you agree with all of its claims, Cowspiracy forces us to confront uncomfortable truth about our food system, what we consume, and its impact on the planet.
Okay, so what does all of this mean for us? For me, Cowspiracy is like a wake up call for like a few people, like some people.
Yeah.
But to me, it just gave me more like education, and like it did change my view on the environment.
Yeah, I agree. I'm not saying everyone needs to go vegan overnight, because again, That's very hard to do,
Yeah.
even for me, even for
Everyone,
most people.
yeah.
But even small changes like participating in meatless Mondays or reducing food waste, it can make a whole lot of difference. That's what the film was trying to tell us.
Yeah, totally.
think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The film also reminded me of the power of asking questions. Why do we do the things we do? Why do we accept certain systems as
Inevitable.
inevitable? Inevitable. Cowspiracy challenges to think critically and demand transparency from the organizations and industries that shape our world.
Yes, and I think in our opinion,
Yeah.
the documentary, it was very straightforward.
True.
There were even some scenes that were
I know what you're thinking.
it was it was not made for the lighthearted. It's a bit gory. But I think that was their way of emphasizing how important this is,
Yeah.
you know? Because you don't see that every day. You don't see, like, someone beheading a duck every day.
Yeah.
So it's like a slap to reality, in my opinion. And that's what makes people feel like, oh my gosh, like, I feel so guilty.
Yeah,
like,
it's
I feel
like
so bad.
It's like a realization of like, dang, that's like what they have to go through every day because I eat them.
Yeah, exactly. So, like, when I watched that, I was like, oh, I didn't know how to react. Because, like, I want to feel bad, but I literally eat animals every day.
They're delicious, bro. They're delicious.
Yeah,
like,
what can I say? What can I say?
like during that scene when I watched like the guy like cut the head, I screamed. I was like,
yeah, it was not pleasant to watch, and I think that's the point of the movie. It's full of uncomfortable information that you didn't want to know, because now that you know,
you can't see it.
When you're eating steak, you're gonna think about the movie and like, oh, I'm contributing to the climate change. I'm contributing to the killing of the earth.
I'm making things worse.
Exactly. So I mean, it did change my brain, like chemistry. Like I definitely do like want to eat less meat, or I want to very, very, very lessen food waste, because imagine all those animals go through that, the earth goes through that, and you still don't finish your food. Like, what? That's like, I would never be able to live with that. Like, I just can't. So, before we wrap up, let's leave our listeners with a question. What's one change you can make in your life to reduce your environmental impact? Whether it's cutting back on meat, supporting sustainable agriculture, or simply spreading the word about films like Cowspiracy, every action counts. It matters. Like, your voice matters.
Yeah, everyone matters.
Yes.
Okay, well, that's it for today's episode of Two Peas and a Podcast. Don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with a friend.
Yes.
Press the subscribe button right now.
Exactly, it will help us a lot. And if you haven't seen Cowspiracy yet, we highly recommend it.
Yes.
We recommend checking it out. It is on Netflix. It's on YouTube. Honestly, just search it in Google.
Yeah.
It'll
Free
pop
to
up.
watch. Free
Exactly,
to watch.
it's free. So why not?
Why not? Like, when you're bored, just do it.
Exactly, when you're like bored at home, just like, I remember the Two Piece in a Podcast.
Yeah.
I'm gonna watch that now.
Well, thanks for listening, and remember, the choices we make today can shape the world we'll live in tomorrow.
Until next time,
Okay,
stay
bye.
curious and keep making a difference. Bye bye, toodles.
Alright.